I'm Russell Clark, and this is VixShield's Market Close Recap, where it isn't news till we talk about it. Here's what actually happened today. The gates stayed open, the VIX kept sliding, and our RSAI engine delivered a clean place signal for the second straight session. Welcome to the VixShield Daily Market Summary, Tuesday Close Recap for April 28, 2026. These signals and insights are for educational purposes only and are not financial advice. Trading involves substantial risk of loss. You can lose more than your initial investment. No live trade execution. Signals only. Past performance is not indicative of future results. This episode breaks down exactly what played out after this morning's outlook, why the market moved the way it did, and what the numbers are telling us about the setup we actually took home. The S&P closed at 7,139, up about 17 points on the day. That modest gain came after a quiet drift higher that respected the neutral to constructive tone we highlighted this morning. Remember, this morning we said watch the 10-year yield and the dollar. Both stayed remarkably steady. That lack of pushback let the index grind toward the upper end of the expected daily range without ever really testing the wings we had in mind. The VIX finished at 18.1, down another 4.7% from yesterday's close. It now sits 4.7% below its 5-day moving average of 18.9. That continued decline is exactly what the morning outlook anticipated, a gentle compression in fear that keeps the premium selling math in our favor. Term structure remained in healthy contango, with the 3-month VXV at 20.7, a spread of 2.7 points above the spot VIX. For those of us running iron condors, contango is the market's way of saying it expects volatility to stay contained in the near term. That expectation lets us collect solid premium while the odds stay tilted in our direction. Cross-market color told a mixed but mostly supportive story. The dollar slipped 0.13%, helping equities avoid any real pressure. Bitcoin and Ethereum both eased modestly, 1.4 and 0.6% respectively, showing they were not rushing to confirm the equity upside. Gold gave back 2%, while crude jumped over 4% on supply concerns. Taken together, the picture was one of digestion, not conviction. Exactly the environment where our contained range approach tends to shine. It was a clean session. No intraday breaking alerts. No surprise Fed whispers at 1:47. No sudden geopolitical flare at 2:30. Just steady price action that let the mathematical gates we monitor do their work without interruption. This morning we noted the Fed decision and press conference looming later this week. The market seemed content to wait, which is why realized volatility stayed exceptionally low at 10.8% over the last 10 days. Now let's look beneath the surface at volatility. The VIX closed at 18.1, clearly declining and well behaved. That 4.7% drop below the 5-day average confirms the bullish setup for income strategies we discussed this morning. The term structure in contango tells us the futures curve is sloping upward. Normal carry that rewards those of us willing to sell the front month premium. Historical 10-day volatility at 10.8% remains well below the implied level. Another quiet confirmation that the market was not pricing in any large surprise. The EDR indicator, our expected daily range gauge, sat at 0.00% at entry. That gate was not only met, it was emphatically green. Now, the strategy insight for today. This morning's outlook laid out the conditions clearly. VIX below 20, EDR under 1.5%, healthy contango. All three gates passed, which is why the RSAI engine, our rapid skew AI, locked in a place verdict across the board. VIX at 18.1, elevated but still below 20. Conservative tier is green, safe to place, balanced is yellow, tradable, but sized down if you are cautious. Aggressive is yellow, tradable with extra caution. The RSAI verified strikes we evaluated at the close reflect that discipline. On an up-biased day like today, we round the call wings higher and the put wings lower, exactly as the SPX mastery methodology teaches. That small adjustment gives the structure extra room If the gentle drift we saw continues overnight, conservative tier landed at 70.75 to 70.80 on the puts and 7200 to 7205 on the calls for a net credit of 65 cents. Balanced came in at 70.090 to 70.095. Puts against 71.85 to 71.90 calls, collecting $1.25. Aggressive sat at 7100 to 7105 puts and 7180 to 7185 calls, bringing in $1.55 of premium. Here's the interesting thing about what just happened. This morning we reminded everyone that when the gates align, the math favors placement, but only at the tier that matches your risk tolerance. Today's session proved the point. The index closed comfortably inside all three structures, yet the conservative wing still offered the highest probability finish. That is not luck. That is the deliberate skew adjustment the RSI applies in real time, cross-checked against live options flow and short-term VIX momentum. We have seen this pattern before. Last Thursday we said, watch how the VIX behaves when it slips below its 5-day average ahead of a Fed meeting. Today's gentle decline and contained realized volatility delivered exactly the setup we described then. The bears tried to press early, but found no follow-through once the dollar and yields refused to cooperate. Looking ahead, tonight and tomorrow, we watch two things. First, how the overnight futures digest this quiet close ahead of the Fed decision. Second, whether the VIX can hold below 18.5. If it does, the contango should remain supportive. If any headline pushes it above 19, the gates could flip and we move immediately to hold. The discipline lesson from today is simple. When the RSI says place, we place. We do not chase the aggressive tier simply because credits look tempting. We size according to the color code. We respect the fragility curve that says bigger is not always stronger. And we keep our ALVH layers ready, even though they were not needed today. That patience is what turns these quiet sessions into consistent income over time. If you found today's summary valuable, share it with a friend. Both of you will receive 14 extra days of free trial access to the full VixShield podcast and signals. Your personal share link is waiting for you in your member dashboard. This market summary is brought to you by VixShield, your protection against daily uncertainty. These signals and insights are for educational purposes only and are not financial advice. Trading involves substantial risk of loss. You can lose more than your initial investment. No live trade execution, signals only. Past performance is not indicative of future results. This is VixShield, your daily protection against market uncertainty.